Hi and welcome to the Great Debaters Contest. I'm your host, George Kariuki. Thank you for joining us. What comes to mind when you hear the phrase peer pressure? Something harmful? Now, the influence exerted by peer groups is debatable. Let's see how our participating schools debate.
The motion this week is peer pressure is more beneficial than harmful. Proposing the motion, St. Georges Secondary School. Opposing the motion, Huruma Girls High School. Each contestant has 3 minutes to make their submissions. The audience also gets a chance to put their questions to each team. Each side will have an additional 1 minute to make a final statement. The judge's decision is final. But in a twist, the audience also gets to have their say through the popular vote. This will see an extra 5% added to the school that wins this vote. The winning school will get an ICT chill-out zone with a widescreen TV, computers, webcam, and internet connection. The teacher from the winning school gets 100,000 shillings courtesy of Chase Bank. The winning students each get a laptop and modem courtesy of Safaricom, a gift hamper from Hako, and a gift hamper from mimi.co.ke. And together they all win the title, The Great Debaters. May the best school win!
Proposal number 1, you have 3 minutes to argue your motion.
First, above everything else, we have to know the meaning of the main keywords. That is peer. Peer are a group of people who have the same age or the same status as you. My point is excellency. Peers can make you be excellent in school, whereby they can support you in every art. If you have good peers, they can help you in achieving your goals, because there is no one who wants to have friends who are failures. And secondly, they tend to make your life more better. In which way? They make you understand education more once you concentrate on having good peers. And secondly is that they help in adapting to the reading culture. So hence, there is no one who will ever want to have failures. Or is it true that when they say that success is the key to everything? Because once you have good peers, you'll have everything in life. Thank you.
Opposer number 1, you have 3 minutes to argue your motion.
Thanks to my opponent for defining the word. And here, the fact is, it's pressure. What is pressure? Pressure is being pulled to the extreme to do what you are not willing to do. And in most cases, you can pressure somebody to do something in a good intention. But what in all? The person does not want it. The person is not willing to do it. And let's say, for instance, a parent forcing her child to go to church. The child does not want to go to church, but you force her. The child will not, in real sense, go to church because of her own free will, but because you have told her. So she will intend to please you. Second, to my point, it's so-called in order for someone to fit in a situation, you have to at least to adapt to what your friend wants. So in real sense, peer pressure is harmful because it causes also distraction. 99% of students, probably in the university, secondary, are pressurized, and in most cases get to do what is against their moral upright, or to do what they don't want, because we see that 90% of university students are misled with their friends because they use drugs, take drugs, and They take drugs and spoil their future, which at first when they went to the university, they had an A. So, and another point is that peer pressure is harmful because it brings about mistrust among our parents. Because when your parent sees that this group is bad to you, she or he intends to stop it. And in real sense, you don't want it because you want to be like them so that you can call the cool one. Or you can be like, I'm hot because so-and-so has pierced her ear like 20 times. So you want to pierce 20 times to be hotter, which it's not. In real sense, it's not. It's hurting yourself. So we intend to say that due to peer pressure, we get so many negative things in life. Thank you.
Proposal number 2, you have 3 minutes to argue your motion.
First, let me set a scenario for all of us here. I'm in the kitchen. I'm making, us being Africans, let's say ugali. My sufuria has been on the fireplace for quite some time. And I know, yes, it's hot. Will I, in my right senses, take my hand to the sufuria? Let me change this into reality. I know that peer pressure has its negative sides. But can we learn from it? Yes. We learn from our mistakes, and thus, knowing that peer pressure is wrong, we say we learn from peer pressure and learn to make our choices better. I learn to analyze everything and not take anything at face value. On to my next point. Let me define morals for you. Morals are concerned with principles of right and wrong. Our parents and guardians, all of us here, we can truly say our parents and guardians have raised us very well, right? And instilled the best morals there is. Who can bravely stand here and just tell us that their parents will be very okay with them hanging out with someone who is of the wrong morals? No one. That's because if I know I'm of the wrong morals, then I know many parents won't want their children hanging out with me. So I have a choice, either to be lonely or to change my ways. And through this, I know many human beings, not actually many, all of us here are social beings. So I will rather change my ways through peer pressure, right? To change my ways to be a better person so that I can be able to hang out with people, not to be a lonely person. Thank you.
Proposal number 2, you have 3 minutes to argue your motion.
I'm Rose Young, the Vice President of Huruma Girls, and I'm opposing the motion, peer pressure is beneficial than harmful. First, I'd like to correct my opponent. You said, if I know that people, if I know I'm doing the wrong thing, why should I do it? It's because you have the mentality as personally you yourself to come about and think that if I know, yeah, let us underline that word, if I know. It's you who knows. It's not your peers who know. It's you. So meaning that peer pressure is positive only when you know you're in the right group. Correct. However, if you know they are wrong, you yourself have the opportunity to choose. You yourself has the opportunity to choose. How do you stand there and say, you know, these guys are bad. These guys are going to take me to the wrong. Those are your peers. My point is, peers are beneficial, but peer pressure isn't. Your first speaker talked to us about being negative or positive through your definition. I agree. I've been there. I agree. Basing my research on our school as the vice president, yeah, 30% have improved because of their peers. It's true. Because of group works and discussions. They're still your peers, right? But the other 70%, don't even ask me. Yeah? Next thing is, if peer pressure is beneficial, then I think the person who wrote the dictionary should just come and ask this girl called Rose in front of you, and I'll try to share with him that, yes, it might be beneficial, but it should not be called then peer pressure. It should not have the word pressure. What is pressure? I'll not say it. My first speaker did it for you. So, moving to my third point, which is peer pressure is more destructive than building. This is because it promotes more vices and virtues, e.g., early teenage pregnancy. How do you get pregnant? It's not you seated and then woke up in the morning and said, you know what, today I have to actually go and get pregnant. No. How did you get there? Someone just told you, Julie, you know what, go there, yeah? This thing is done, you cannot get pregnant. You can't. You go there. She's your peer, right? Right. I'm not saying she's bad, yeah? She's good. And then, you should know yourself. Due to circumstances I have to avoid, yeah? That has to be there. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, David Kimani from Starehe Boys Center. Coming up, questions, comments, and of course, the results. Don't you touch that remote, because up next, the drama is only getting better and better.
My name is Martin Jero. I want to ask the proposers one question. Because they have told me that a parent will not allow a son or a daughter to associate with someone who is in bad company or whose ways are not straightforward. And you have made me understand about the word of freedom of choice. I'm supposed to choose which side to follow. Now, answer me this way. Peer pressure comes to instill something that does not exist in my mind. And they will hammer it and hammer it and hammer it until they drive the point home. How am I going to make this decision while they are always there? Like now the drug, those who use drug in the school, they will not come and tell you use the drug. What they do, they entice you. And by the end of the day, you end up giving up. So explain to me how I'm going to make this choice.
My name is Edward Mishira from Starehe Boys Center. Okay, I have a question to the opposing side. The first speaker said that an example of peer pressure is when a parent is either pressuring the child to go to church. So I'm asking, is that peer pressure? Because as you defined it earlier, you say that peers are people under the same age bracket and common interests. So can you clarify, please?
Proposal number 3, you have 3 minutes to answer the questions that were posed to you.
Let me take myself for an example. If I was to follow everything that my peers told me, I'd have probably been in alcohol. I'd have probably been pregnant by now. Who knows? Anything would have happened to me. But I know myself. That's the key to everything. As much as you have friends around you, you have your clique around you, you have to separate yourself sometime and think on your own. Don't ask anybody else to think for you. You think for yourself. You have to push your mind to the limits of thinking and understanding yourselves. You do not make a decision without knowing who you are. You have to know who you are and who I am, so that if I come and tell you take drugs, you have to know that this is bad for me, this is wrong, because this is me. I know myself. You wanted me to convince you about how peer pressure is good. Peer pressure, they forgot to say something. In the dictionary, it says peer pressure is either persuasion or force to change. It means I ask you to change, I see you're not changing, I entice you with something, I see you're not changing, then maybe I'll force you. Now, they said change. They didn't mention what kind of change. There's a good kind of change, there's a bad kind of change. I might force you to change to the wrong, but I might also force you to change to the right. Let's say I'm a friend, I perform really well, I get an A. You're my friend, you get all E's. You're tarnishing my image.
I'm a friend who gets an A. I have a friend who gets an E. My teachers will ask me, you have a friend, what do you help your friend with? What kind of friend are you? I'll force you to change. I'll tell you, you have to read. If you want me to be your friend, you have to read. That's my kind of change. I'll force you to change to be a better person. I think my questions are all answered.
Opposer number 3, you have 3 minutes to answer the questions posed to you.
Mutual agreement, as you said. I'm a teenager, for example. What do I know about pregnancy? Why do I want to get pregnant? What will it help me with at my age? I don't know the benefits of getting pregnant or start getting in the family way at my age. I'm not supposed to be concentrating on such things. I'm supposed to be concentrating on things like my books, for example, that are going to help me in the future, not concentrating on things like pregnancy. And I believe when we are all born, we are born with the knowledge of free will, and we are all made in the image and likeness of God. So if you want to do something, you're supposed to do it out of your own will, not considering what others are thinking or doing it to fit in with other people. You're supposed to do things that benefit you yourself as a person and not worrying about what others are thinking about yourself. What they say, God for us all and man for himself. On this earth, you're supposed to worry about only you and work according to what you think is right and what is wrong, not considering what other people say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll give both sides a chance to give us a final statement. Let's have winding up statements from the proposing team.
We, as people, when we hear peer pressure, we tend to think on the negative side. Never have we sat down to think of the people who before were really bad people, who had no motive in life, who thought of fun and drugs and sex, but they got friends. We always think of the ones who are converted wrongly. Never have we looked at the ones who had no hope yet, were drawn from that to the positive side of life. Never have we thought of that. Like my fellow proposers have told you, peer pressure can actually be good. Once you look at it in any other way, look at it in the positive way. Look at it on how people come out from where they are. People who look up to others and learn from other people's mistakes and grow in and nurture their talents, and they have something to live for. Thank you.
First, I like to say, if someone makes you do something good, I'll not say that's not peer pressure. I'll not say it's peer pressure. Rather, I'll say it's an advice or an encouragement. If I come and tell you, you know what, you're in grade A, you need to go back to grade A. Am I pressuring you to go to grade A? No. I'm encouraging you to get grade A. The first opponent said, success, they can bring success. I agree. I totally agree. I've raised up my hands. I agree. Believe you me. But my friend Mbugwa, who's an author, came to a school and told us one thing about his book. Success is personal. Success is personal. Your peers will be there. I agree. They will benefit, but they'll not force you to get there. It's you who'll stand on your own feet and say, I have to get there. I really have to do it. Since you're telling me, you've defined the word as being force. It's still force. Thank you, and please, I'll say, if everyone will just stop and think for a moment, what will I do in this situation, there'll be so much less pressure. Thank you.
All right, now time to hear from the judges.
St. Georges, you began with energy, the first speaker, but as the arguments progresses, you get a bit shaky in your arguments. Composure is very important whenever we talk. It's very, very important. It strikes the audience so much. It's very important to frame your sentence in your mind before you voice it, so that you don't just, you don't hesitate or you don't stammer. Because if you want to speak as you think, it becomes very challenging. But frame the sentence in your mind, then speak, and you'll find that there is a flaw in your speech. Bit of grammatical mistakes here and there, again, is common mistake to say, I can be able to. I mean, that really needs to change, especially in us who are students we need to change that. I can or I am able to. Avoid pairing can and be able to. It doesn't really make any sense. It's unnecessary repetition. And then maybe lastly, those are young. There's a lot of repetition when you're talking. You repeat yourself a lot, and that's why time cut you short. If only you could voice your arguments and rest your case, it will be easy, but you keep on repeating yourself, and that made time cut you short. Otherwise, I wish the two teams the best. Thank you.
St. George's and Huruma Girls. You define terms, but beyond that, you know, we're waiting for a lot more. And I kind of get the impression that the arguments really do not convince us on whatever it is that you're convicted to believe. But anyway, let's wait and see, you know, what the other judges have to say.
I think it's a fascinating debate if you think about the nature of society. Is society itself not based on forms, various forms of peer pressure? That you end up with laws, but who decides what the laws are? It's normally the stronger people in society who create those laws and norms that people then have to live up to. It would have been great to actually expand that argument and present it, but I didn't hear St. George's come out of the box. I would have loved that. Great start, and then you end it. Just as you started, within a few moments you sat. So I always say, if you have 3 minutes, utilize the full 3 minutes. Huruma Girls. Very interesting styles, I think. Isabella, you seemed comfortable up there, but you were nervous. And you hit it very well. I could see slight indications of the nerves, but you walked around, you utilized your space, and you made us comfortable with you. Rose, fascinating, really fascinating presentation, but sometimes you can get lost in your argument. You made a very interesting argument that there's nothing wrong with peers. You know, peers are good, but pressure is bad. I think, you know, it kind of got lost in the drama, in a sense. I don't know how to explain it, but it was an interesting argument that you raised. And Margaret, you were straight to the point, I think. You could have been stronger. The final debater must always come in with that final kick and just kind of wind things up. I have to tell you, it is very, very tight.
By a show of hands, how many people feel that the proposing team, St. George's, had a better argument? Okay, how many feel that the opposers, Huruma Girls, had a better argument? So Huruma Girls gets the audience vote.
St. George's, we had you at 64%. And Huruma Girls, the judges had you at 63%. But with the audience vote of 5%, Huruma Girls, you now have 68%. Congratulations to both teams.
Now this has been The Great Debaters. I'm your host, George Kariuki. See you next time.
Things that we did in the past to ensure that our children, our own children, could be able to take care of their own children are not the same anymore.
You talk to me about how I can be able to become a better parent 10 to 15 years to come right now. Then what will I do then? I have to build my foundation now. I have to make it strong, and how I can be able to build myself is by focusing on one area. I'm not planning to be a parent right now.
The winning school will get an ICT chill-out zone with a widescreen TV, computers, webcam, and internet connection. The teacher from the winning school gets 100,000 shillings courtesy of Chase Bank. The winning students each get a laptop and modem courtesy of Safaricom, a gift hamper from Hako, and a gift hamper from mimi.co.ke. And together they all win the title, The Great Debaters. May the best school win!